Hello there, I'm the Abyssal Drink, and let's look at the brand new champion, Gwen, who appears to be some type of AP fighter. Not really sure what lane she should be in, but whatever. First up, her passive is an auto attack based thing. Her autos deal max HP damage based off her ability power. Not a very high ratio, but it does add up based off of her actual damaging abilities. And when she damages a champion with this, she will heal.
Still can't believe I get to move my hands and
So,
feet all on my own.
pretty simple. Fuck you, Scuttle. Next up is her Q, Snip Snip. It is a cone attack that deals true damage in the center, as well as applying her passive. Oh, that was a bad position. Let's try that again. It slashes twice, with the last slash always being the most powerful, but if she auto attacks up to 4 times, she'll gain an additional slash for each of these autos, which again stacks that up. Even at its base of 1%, that's 6% max HP damage, and it's true damage as well. Or is it? Nope. Only the damage of the Q itself is true damage. The passive is not turned into true damage. So, no deleting a Cho'Gath with his own HP. Well, maybe. Anyway, her next ability, Hollowed Mist, is basically a Jin Zhao ultimate. You gain armor and magic resistance while inside of it, and you cannot be damaged by anything or affected by anything outside as well, save for towers. But as long as this mark is there, no one can hurt you. Not to mention, if you leave the area, it will follow you one time and then disappear. And this includes if you dash, which will follow you a greater distance. And you can always just recast it.
I've got to make each footprint
Super simple,
something.
super easy, and there's nothing really else to it. And the armor and magic resistance you gain is based off your ability power. You can get like a full item's worth with plenty of ability power. Her next ability is Skip and Slash, which is basically an Aatrox E, but it gives you increased auto range after using it, as well as attack speed and on-hit damage. After attacking an enemy, you'll reduce the cooldown by 50%, which is pretty neat. It's a pretty long cooldown, and that is only... It has to be an auto in order for you to get that reset.
No time to rest. My maker, wherever she is, I do hope she's happy. To
And finally, her ultimate, Needlework. She hurls a needle forward that's going to slow an enemy. I will use Scuttle here. It is now slowed, and you can use this again only if you attack something.
The wind at my back feels so good. I can't
It'll
lose this.
recast up
I
to
won't.
2 times, but in order to use that recast, you have to hit someone with either your Q or your auto. Every time that it does deal damage, however, it will also apply 1,000 cuts, and if you hit an enemy with multiple needles, they will be slowed instead. They can only be damaged 1 time.
I'll break as
And
many
the
needles
damage
as it takes
does
to get this right.
go pretty high, but the numbers are still kind of a to be determined type of thing.
I won't let you hurt anyone.
Triple kill.
With this current build that I have used in a quick test run of mine, her final numbers come out to 5% max HP. That damage is what it is. And this damage is 1,192 plus the additional damage from 1,000 cuts.
This
So
is
let's see
better
how
than a
much this
dream.
is actually going to end up doing.
It's real,
Let me get rid of the Scuttle.
and I won't ever forget it.
Bad Scuttle. 183. Quite a bit there. And quite a bit there. 4,000 DPS. Wow.
Seeing my dress twirl reminds me to smile.
2,000 DPS on a fully charged Q. Interesting. And for a full duration,
Don't waste a minute.
about 1,000 DPS with just using her E. Her ultimate cooldown is also pretty low at 50 seconds with only 55 ability haste. That is quite something, and it can get even lower if you have Ultimate Hunter or even some Cloud Drakes. Even lower.
Struggle is worth it. Out of my way! Try again. No stitching that back together.
So here are a few things that I have noticed in just one game. She's not really all that complicated to figure out. Her E
Don't waste a
might
minute.
look pretty small, but it's actually larger than you think. She can hop over walls pretty easily, including a wall like this. So she can get around quite a bit if need be.
I'm gone.
Not through this though. Gonna need a blast cone for that.
I've got to make each footprint mean something.
But she can get over small walls pretty
With
easily.
haste. Quick, quick.
Her Q does not lock her in place at all.
What a delight.
You can dash, you can flash, doesn't matter. It will still also move your Q. So if an enemy thinks they've gotten away, nope, they're still getting cut.
Safe and sound. Snip, snip. Ready as I'll ever be. Cut through. Go. A few quick cuts.
The ultimate does not allow you to recast off of something like Ignite. And more than likely, it also wouldn't let you recast off of something like a protobelt. Let's go
Bits of fabric can become something
Let's go test
beautiful.
this. Nope.
Pin them down.
It does not
The black
work.
mist won't hurt anyone.
Interesting.
I promise.
You can actually probably also...
To friends.
You cannot protobelt and Q at the same time. They are separate instances. And it's actually quite
My maker.
awkward. It's easier to use your E into a protobelt rather than the other way around.
Hide and seek. No one said life would be easy. That is its charm, to be sure.
So yeah, I think a big thing to take note with Gwen is
They're
that
trying to stop me.
a lot
Well,
of what
they
she
can keep on
does
trying.
is purely based off of auto attacks. She does have very strong autos when she has, you know, items. That's kind of the whole thing about being ability power. Items are way huger for you than most ADs. But she only has 2 damaging abilities. The needles don't look like they're too difficult to hit, but they are certainly easy to mess up. The Q
The memories I stitch here will be my own.
is pretty small. It's not very huge range.
Snip, snip.
It's not very big on the range. And it is quite fast once you have those 4 stacks. So you'll get off a lot of damage in that time. But you have to build it up first.
To pieces.
Now you can build it up on minions. So you can build up on minions, go in on the enemy once you get those 4 stacks. But that is still important that you have to get to those 4 stacks for it to be important.
Fresh air.
And if you don't use the stacks, they fall away all at once. Her armor and magic resistance is only a 51. Even though this is pretty strong. Can we get it up higher? 53? 55? 55. You can go a little bit higher, but you're only looking at 1 item's worth of armor and magic resistance, which is still pretty useful, considering that she's also untargetable. Like, you could stand in a Cho'Gath queue and not get knocked up. Even though you're standing right in it, as long as he's outside of it, it still works. And not to mention, yeah, she's primarily just auto-based. Now, she does have pretty good chase down since her E pretty much is just extremely low cooldown, and as long as you're fighting, then she can keep using it over and over again. Which seems to just be the thing about her. She's not someone that can chase you down from a distance. She can't just do this, and that's it. She has to attack again, otherwise she loses her recast. So she definitely has to be all in your face, and this only really helps against engagers and mages, not really so much against melees, so long as they're not using abilities from a distance. If they jump in on you, you only have the armor magic resistance that allows you to contend with it. But you do have Skip and Slash, which can be pretty useful for dodging things. And then, of course, you're also going to get healing from your Q because of 1,000 cuts as well.
I'll make sure my allies feel the joy they deserve.
The healing can add up to be quite a bit. 70% of 5% of an enemy's max health, but it's more of an anti-tank type of thing. Not really going to get much value out of it against a squishy. Thoughts and conclusions? She seems fine. I don't know what she'll be like in an actual game. I can't test that for myself because she's definitely going to get picked over and over again and I'll never have the chance at all. But she's definitely a very mobile, capable fighter type. Kind of like I shouldn't say Diana. I can't really pin down what exactly she is, but she's highly encouraged to actually fight. Her Q doesn't do much unless you have these stacks up, and you can't get the lower cooldown on your E without you autoing someone. You have to auto. It cannot be a Q, it cannot be an ult, it has to be an auto. And your ultimate has to be used in conjunction with your abilities. You cannot just chase someone down without and use this over and over again. But otherwise, she seems like she'll be interesting to deal with. Very interesting to deal with. Well, bye.
Just like the good old times. Sweet, simple, and out of control. Huh, I heard something.
You are bad.
They said it, not me.
Minions have spawned.